There's no reason to be shy. Once you cook a dish and you like how it comes out, take a picture. Some of us, we cook and then we forget to take the pictures, and then we have no picture to present, but then we have to cook again so we can take a picture. So just remember to take your picture when you have your recipes and your display, so that you can put them up as evidence that you did complete the work. Now, you need to have at least 60% of your items done. Okay, so if you want to graduate, at least 60% of all the dishes, all the things that you were taught, the milks and the nuts and the lasagna, you need to have proof of at least 60% of those dishes presented to us along with the recipes. All right, and the other assignments, little assignments, maybe a menu here, a menu there that you will follow. So happy cooking. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming. And at this time, we are going to bow our heads for prayer. Oh, kind of Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for your love and your mercy and your grace towards us. We are thankful that you love us and you sent your son to die so that we can be saved. Help us to love our bodies that you've created and give the best attention that we can to them, because the bodies is what's going to serve you and serve us. And we cannot serve you to the fullest unless our bodies are working to the fullest. So we thank you for the opportunity to be here to better serve you. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Okay. Davina?
Hello, is it my time?
I am not sure what's next. Is the presentation next, Davina? Instead you do the introduction?
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Unfortunately, my video is not working. It cannot, I cannot get it to show. However, it's not important for you to see me at this time. We do have a presenter for the hour. We have Health Magazine author, GWENETH, hailing all the way from the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago, who will be sharing with us how to optimize your immune system. And then we will go into a couple of demonstrations for you. And I'll talk you through, I'll share a little video with you and give you a recipe for something that you could try later on. And my colleague Bussy will tantalize you today. And then we'll have Loy, who will tell you how you can register and sign up for this program. All right, at this time, we are going to welcome GWENETH. GWENETH, thank you very much for joining us. And the platform is now yours.
Hi, ladies. Whilst GWENETH is getting ready with her presentation, maybe it would be good to just share a little bit of a short bio so that we know exactly who is talking to us. My name is Busi Ncube, for those of you who were not yet here when I was being introduced. So GWENETH is a trained medical missionary and the publisher and editor of Astronaut Health newspaper, which publishes health news and scientific research of 8 basic laws of health. She holds a teacher's diploma and a bachelor's degree in English. She enjoys meeting people, telling Bible stories to children, cooking vegetarian dishes, and playing the recorder and steel pan. Her two passions in life are teaching the health message and sharing the good news of salvation with everyone. So that is GWENETH, and I am sure that she is now on cue to share with us. She did say she loves sharing, so she is going to share with us. Her topic today is, I'm sure you all saw from the test session that was updated. Her topic is dangers of sugar on the immune system. This is one of those that touches every single one of us. So let us listen, sit back and listen as GWENETH shares with us her knowledge, expertise, and wisdom.
GWENETH, you're on mute. I don't know if you're able to unmute yourself.
Hi.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh boy.
You gave me the scare there.
Okay, forgive me. Right. So I'm very happy to be with you all this afternoon. I'm very excited to be a part of this presentation, this free taster session of the VeganTrition course. I wish I could actually be a part of the entire course, and I'm sure all the participants will be richly rewarded for joining the course, for being a part of the course. And today I want to share on what sugar does to the immune system. Okay, so I'm getting a bit of, I'm not seeing my slide.
That's it.
We're seeing it.
Right, and okay. Right, so there are basically two classes of sugar. There's natural sugar found in fruits, etc., sources of which contain important nutrients for your body's needs. And then there's refined sugar, which is a chemically processed product, also known as table sugar, which contains almost no nutrients. So when I speak of sugar in this presentation, I'm referring to refined sugar. And the question today is, can eating sugar weaken your immune system? And can sugar affect your ability to resist diseases such as COVID-19? Now, like all pathogens, the novel coronavirus attacks the immune system, which is your body's mechanism to fight disease. And your immune system comprises white blood cells, antibodies, the complement system, and more. Now, white blood cells play a key role in protecting your immune system. They circulate around the blood like security guards working at a mall. And different types of blood cells, such as neutrophils, eosinophils, and lymphocytes, have different functions. For example, neutrophils, which form the majority of white blood cells, surround and destroy bacteria and fungi that enter the body, just like many of the guards at the mall may surround a strong criminal and take him down. So we'll get back to neutrophils shortly. Now, all white blood cells need oxygen from the blood circulatory system in order to survive. And your blood circulatory system is your arteries, veins, the blood vessels that carry oxygen, nutrients, and hormones to every cell of your body and take waste products from your cells. So your immune system, for it to defend you effectively, your circulatory system must be working efficiently because your life is in your blood. And did you know studies show that every law of health, air, sunlight, temperance, which means avoiding harmful substances and using what is good in moderation, rest, exercise, nutrition, use of water, and trust in God, all impact your circulatory system in a marvelous way. Fresh air oxygenates the blood in your veins and arteries. Sunlight increases white blood cells and lowers cholesterol and glucose in your blood. Temperance stabilizes your entire system so that your blood remains free from disease. Rest helps maintain regular pressure and cholesterol levels in your blood. Exercise reduces inflammation and plaque in the walls of your arteries. Proper diet nutrifies your blood to reduce the risk of disease. Pure water purifies and detoxifies your blood. Trust in God sends electric signals to your brain and your blood cells, stimulating them to function properly. What powerful health laws, and what an amazing body. These laws work hand in hand to prevent disease. For example, temperance means avoiding harmful practices, as we just said. So for instance, drinking alcohol is one form of intemperance, which reduces your body's ability to protect you from disease. So while drinking, the ability of temperance to protect you disappears. And among other effects, alcohol blocks the chemical signals in your brain. So putting a bottle of rum to your head and praying to stay sober won't work. Trust in God is null and void in that situation. And what about exercise? Will exercise stop the alcohol from impacting your brain and liver? No. When you break one law of health, you're guilty of all, because the end result is weakened immunity. Now let's consider sugar. Years ago, a nutrition student at Loma Linda University, Judy Reeser, did a study on the effect of sugar, on the functioning of neutrophils. Now, remember, neutrophils are white blood cells that destroy bacteria. So Reeser wanted to know if consuming sugar interfered with neutrophils' ability to protect the immune system. And her subjects ate different kinds of refined sugars, one at a time on different days. She then took blood samples to measure neutrophil activity. And her research found that 10 teaspoons of white sugar, which is the amount found in 1 can of soft drink or soda, decreased neutrophil activity by 50%, and it persisted for 5 hours. Now, most of us don't drink soft drinks, but when you make a mug or a jug of juice at home, how much sugar do you add to it? And how many teaspoons end up in your glass? And what about those boxes of juice we love to buy for our children? Now, the ones that say 100% juice, no added sugar on the label, have no refined sugar in them, but they usually contain some of the same harmful preservatives as the sugar-filled juices. On the other hand, the ones that just say juice or drink or juice drink have approximately 5 teaspoons of sugar. So let's say at 9 a.m., you give your 3-year-old a box of orange juice and a pack of digestive biscuits. Now, digestive biscuits contain between half to 1 teaspoon of sugar per biscuit, depending on the size. That means you cut off your child's resistance to fight off bacteria almost in half, from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Now, according to an online article on neutrophil dysfunction by the C.S. Mott Children's Hospital in Michigan, neutrophils play an important role in fighting infection. Patients who have too few neutrophils are at risk for both recurrent and severe infections. And the article went on to say that problems with infection can also arise if the neutrophils are present in normal numbers but do not function properly. Research discovered that after 30 teaspoons of white sugar, the neutrophils completely lost their ability to engulf bacteria. They actually stopped functioning. So what are some of the sweet treats that some of you enjoy during the day? Can 1 or 2 people say, what are some of the sweet treats that you enjoy during the day? Let's say cake. What else?
Ice cream.
All right. And what else?
Ice pop.
All right, so let's say you have an ice pop and then a slice of cake with a glass of juice, and then some ice cream a little later, and then a few cookies, and then another glass of juice. You soon get to the point where neutrophils cannot function. You just killed off all your body's security guards. And research now shows that sweets of any kind lower our resistance and make us vulnerable to all types of common infections. We would be shocked at the amount of sugar in some of these snacks we feed our children and grandchildren, such as lollipops, brownies, and chocolates. According to the UK Obesity Health Alliance, children consume approximately 73.2 grams of sugar daily, and that equals 17.5 teaspoons of sugar. Wow. Then when we hear them with coughing and see them with runny nose, we wonder how they're catching the cold so often. But we love to make our children happy, even if it means we're killing them slowly. Now, I remember before I stopped bringing any sugar at all into my house, I would just bring, because I was moving in stages, and I would just bring a tiny bit for baking bread and for probably browning gravies and so on. But whenever I knew my young family members were coming around, I would buy a 2-pound bag of sugar so that I could make juice for them. I was pleasing them to death, literally.
Wow.
Now, some parents don't realize that true love always involves discipline, and good discipline includes knowing when to say no. Now, let me tell you a secret about sugar. It loves to hide. Now, one place you'll find many hidden sugars is on the grocery shelf. For example, yogurt, which some consider to be so healthy, can contain between 5 to 11 teaspoons of sugar, even in the low-fat version. And what about ketchup? Did you know 1 single tablespoon of ketchup contains 1 teaspoon of sugar, nearly 1 teaspoon? Not to mention the vinegar and other unhealthy spices and preservatives. Notice the label states both high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup. Those are refined sugars. Now you're probably saying, what? I have to give up ketchup too? Well, don't be discouraged. The solution is coming, and this course is coming, VeganTrition. But let's hear the author of several books on nutrition, Ellen White. Let's see what she has to say. Can someone read it, please? From the screen.
Sugar is not good for the stomach. It causes fermentation, and this clouds the brain and brings peevishness into the disposition. Sugar clogs the system. It hinders the working of the living machine.
Right, correct. And as far as peevishness goes, an article on the gut-brain connection by Harvard Medical School describes the intimate connection between the gastrointestinal system and the brain. It says that problems in your stomach and intestines can cause or be a result of anxiety, stress, and depression. So when you stop feeding your children sugar and give them a healthy diet, they will not only get colds less frequently, but also behave much better. And this applies to adults as well. Check the diets of people who behave badly when they lose a cricket match or lose some board game. Or check their sleep habits, because the laws of health work together. Now, in case you're wondering about starch, in research experiments, starch or complex carbohydrates had no effect on neutrophil activity. Complex carbohydrates are mainly found in whole plant foods such as beans, peas, chana, corn, oats, barley, rye, quinoa, potatoes, yam, dasheen, cassava, rice, etc. God has provided us with so many varieties of life-giving food. Now, I believe that I may have motivated you to stop eating sugar totally, or at least to stop eating so much. But you may have many concerns that may seem like a big wall in front of you, stopping you from doing what you believe you should. Or some of your concerns may be, I will not eat 10 teaspoons of sugar. Will a little sugar harm me? Or if I stop eating snacks with sugar. What will I eat when I feel for something sweet, and what will I give my children? Number 3, suppose I still have to keep sweets in the house for my husband, my wife. Won't that be a temptation for me? How can I convince my spouse to stop? Number 4, are the substitutes expensive? Will they take a lot of time to prepare? What will I do with all the sweets and sugar in my house? Is that wasteful to throw away? Number 5, my life is very stressful and sugary foods are my comfort. How will I have the strength to resist? And number 6, I've been feeling really tired and suffering from all sorts of aches and pains. If I stop eating sugar, will I really feel better? Now, these are genuine concerns. How can you surmount them? Get a ladder. And this ladder, the steps on this ladder will help you move from consuming too much sugar to consuming no sugar. So in addressing your rationalization that you won't eat too much sugar, the problem for you may not be the amount you start off eating, but the fact that sugar is addictive. Now, according to Cassie Bajork, founder of Healthy Simple Life, sugar activates the opiate receptors in our brain and affects the reward center, which leads to compulsive behavior despite the negative consequences like weight gain, headaches, etc. In other words, sugar is like a drug and it can make you a junkie. A junkie doesn't care about the harm drugs do to his body. He just wants more and more of the drug. Rationalization may be a sign that you're already addicted. Remember, keeping your resistance high is crucial in these COVID times. You can't afford to rationalize when it comes to your life. So the solution is to pray and stay far from sugar. Don't bring sugar or items containing sugar into your house. The second obstacle to overcoming is finding a replacement. Well, I have good news. There are many tasty options. You have mangoes, oranges, pineapples, bananas, dates, prunes, raisins, sultanas, molasses, honey, stevia, agave, even sugarcane juice. According to Healthline website, sugarcane juice is 70 to 75% water, 10 to 15% fiber, and 13 to 15% natural sugar. And sugarcane juice also contains vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, and antioxidants, which are not found in refined sugar. And the thing about it is that your body breaks down refined sugar quickly, so you don't feel full no matter how much you eat. But natural sugar, on the other hand, is digested slowly, which keeps your metabolism stable and helps you feel full longer. Now, I'm not sure how many of you know about starch mangoes. I'm sure you know about mangoes, and mangoes are sweet. Well, if you find mangoes sweet, you need to taste a starch mango. They are extremely sweet. People sometimes worry about the amount of sugar in fruits such as starch mangoes, but research shows that natural sugars cause glucose levels to rise quickly and lower quickly, whereas refined sugars and saturated fats cause glucose to skyrocket and remain elevated for an abnormally long period of time. And this leads to a condition called insulin resistance. Now, research shows that insulin resistance is a high risk factor for diabetes and Alzheimer's. So your sugar habits could very well be the forerunner to Alzheimer's, especially when you combine it with high fat foods. Now, another confirmation of the value of natural sugars, according to Risa and the Loma Linda researchers, is that fasting with fresh fruit juice enhances the activity of both neutrophils and natural killer cells for several days. So if you don't have diabetes, you don't have to worry about eating starch mangoes or other sweet fruit in moderation. And your child can carry natural juice to school, such as watermelon juice. And you can also make sweet, tasty snacks with no refined sugar, like the ones you'll be learning to make at this course. So the other day, about a month ago, I made black cake with no sugar, no wheat flour, no butter, no eggs. The cherry was just for decoration, don't worry. And I replaced these ingredients with healthy alternatives. Now you'll find the recipe in the next issue of my health newspaper, Astronaut. And you can WhatsApp me for more details if you wish. However, you will also be getting some amazing out of this world recipes from this VeganTrition course. I can't wait to to see them. Do you believe you can make your own ketchup? Yes, you can make your own ketchup. Now, I'm not sure if they're sharing that recipe with you at this particular course. And if not, you can WhatsApp me. Will you all be sharing the ketchup recipe? And me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. So, how does a meal of wedges with homemade ketchup, succulent homemade, I can't believe it's not burger, veggie burger, with some coleslaw with vegan mayonnaise at the side sound, with some chickpeas ice cream and black bean brownies for dessert? Sugarless eating can be more exciting than your usual fare. You know why? Because while you're eating, you know you're not breaking down your immunity. Now, when you're finished with this VeganTrition course, your spouse won't want a thing again. And better yet, when they see you're no longer overweight, all objections will disappear. Now, you don't want to get too small either. So to maintain a healthy weight, you must do your resistance exercises, get enough sleep, and drink enough water. Remember, all the health laws work together. Now, your fourth concern may have been expense. And in the question of expense, here's my question to you. What's the cost of a doctor's visit? How expensive is surgery? When you compare the cost of being sick, you realize that being healthy is much cheaper. And many of these recipes, such as ketchup, are cheap and easy to make. Also, seek to move out of the city and into the country and grow your own fruits. And in terms of whether it's wasteful to throw away, I ask you this. If you bought a bag of sugar and found termites crawling all around in the bag or insects, would you keep it, give it away, or throw it away?
Throw it away.
Right, so think of refined sugar as termites or cockroaches that are eating away at your immunity. Now on to obstacle 5. To resist the temptation to eat refined sugar foods, first pray and claim God's promises to help you overcome. He said he will help you if you give him the opportunity and if you ask. And then take one step at a time. Give up the juice, then a month later, give up the sugary snacks, or do it the other way around if it's easier. Give up the sugary snacks, then a month later, give up the juice, then the grocery items with sugar. Now, some of you may be able to do it faster than that, but be sure to keep substitutes in stock and remind yourself of the harmful effects, and also remove stress triggers. Now, I'm more of a savory person, but sometimes when I go to the market, things like chocolate and red mango tempts me, especially if I'm stressed. Now, did you know that disobeying the health laws can cause stress? Lack of sleep, polluted air, not enough sunlight, lack of exercise, overeating, overworking, doubting God, all cause stress. And removing stress triggers can strengthen you to resist temptation. So all the health laws work together. So when I'm tempted to buy red mango, a bag of red mango, I buy fresh ripe mango or pomsite, I don't know if you know what that is, instead, and I make a nice bowl of chow. Yum, yum. That's the mangoes with the garlic and the shadow benny, or what is called culantro, and what else? Salt, your nice sea salt, and you get some chow with no sugar or preservatives like red mango. And now for your final obstacle, will you feel better? My dear fellow class members, the human body was so fantastically created that even if you are sick now and you make a drastic turnaround based on God's health laws, you will not only begin to feel better, but you will also look better, think better, and act better. If you don't know how to practice the health laws, then follow this Building Immunity Naturally series for more counsels. And even at this course, I'm sure you'll be getting many counsels and testimonies on the other laws of health. So, in conclusion, studies show that you can protect your immune system via lifestyle, and one way is to remove refined sugar from your diet. Now, this requires discipline, and at the beginning, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields good fruit to those who have been trained by it. So let's do our best, and God will do the rest. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gwyneth.
You're welcome.
That was very informative. I'm hoping our audience will be ready to try something sweet without sugar. Are you ready for that? At this time, we will go to Boosie's kitchen and she will show us. Boosie, what is it you've got up your sleeves for us today?
Hi, Davina. Hi, everyone. So
Hi there.
one of the challenges that people often say they are faced with when they go plant-based is how to come up with creative desserts that are non-dairy and desserts that are not really going to mess up their eating plan. And so today we thought that we would demonstrate a dessert. This dessert is a bit of a challenge for me because it is supposed to be an ice cream, right? But I said to Davina earlier, I am going to present it to you as a mousse. And those of you who will come on the course, you will understand why I refuse to call this an ice cream. Anyway.
She's a connoisseur, you see? She's an ice cream connoisseur, that's why.
Yep.
Anyway, it is a dessert that uses an ingredient that most of us are not very familiar with. And this is aquafaba, okay? Aquafaba is bean water. We teach you how to use aquafaba on the course. It is bean water that normally is derived from chickpeas, but you can also use white bean water, you can use regular sugar bean water, and to then make aquafaba. So aquafaba is the residual water that you have after boiling your chickpeas or your white beans or your sugar bean, your brown bean. And it is the, you know, when you boil your chickpea or your sugar beans in water, right? The water reduces until you get to a point where you have this thick liquid that is remaining. And as you leave your beans to cool, you find that that liquid actually thickens as well. That is what aquafaba is. So this dessert uses aquafaba as the base ingredient. I am also embarrassed because Gwyneth has just told us that we should not use refined sugars. And this dessert relies on sugar. It relies on powdered sugar. But you could also, if you have coconut sugar, you could pulverize it until it becomes a fine powder, and you can use coconut sugar instead. I have never tried using xylitol on this, and some people have reservations with xylitol. So I will just use for today good old-fashioned powdered sugar, right? Or what else do we call it? Icing sugar. Now this dessert is quite decadent in that you have sugar. You also have, the recipe calls for cocoa powder, right? Now, we don't normally use cocoa powder because of the way cocoa is processed, because of the caffeine in there. So we normally encourage the use of carob powder. Wherever a recipe calls for cocoa powder, you can replace on a ratio of 1:1 with carob powder. Now, I live in Zimbabwe. Carob powder is a luxury. It's a rare find. In fact, I import my carob powder. You can hardly ever get it even in the health stores here. And I have run out of carob powder. However, I did have some cacao bean that has not been processed. So that is what I will use on this recipe. I ground the cacao bean and then I roasted it a little bit. So cacao bean has less caffeine than the regular cocoa powder that we find in shops. And also it doesn't go through the nasty processing where all these things are also found in our cocoa powder. But the recommendation is if you can have access to carob powder, use carob powder instead. As I say, a ratio of 1:1, and you will have a perfectly chocolatey kind of dessert or whatever you call it. Now, the creator of this recipe refers to this as chocolate ice cream, okay? But I am going to demonstrate to you using her ingredients, a chocolate mousse dessert that you can make for your family a few hours ahead of time. Then you refrigerate it and you can then enjoy it. So now let me try and tilt my screen this way so that you can see my food process, my mixer. So I have here a 1/4 cup of the aquafaba. Can you see how slimy it is? It's gooey because I made I cooked some chickpeas today and then I rested this in the fridge. So the longer you keep it, the more gel-like it becomes. And this is what you want, okay? So this is a 1/4 cup. I am going to put it in my mixer and I'm going to start mixing it. You know, just like how we whisk egg. So if you are making this with me, please get your mixer out or get your electric whisk if you have it, or your electric handheld mixer, and we start mixing this. It will start increasing in volume and turning white. And then we are going to start adding our sugar. This is a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar or icing sugar, which is what the recipe calls for. However, we have just heard from Gwyneth that we need to start off by reducing our sugar intake. So I would say start adding a tablespoon at a time. And maybe let's see if we can work with half this amount. But we also want our mixture to peak, like how you make meringues, right? So I will show you, but let's add the sugar in slowly. And then I also have 2 tablespoons of the cacao powder, right? This is 2 tablespoons that I'm going to add. It's slightly more, but I will only add 2 tablespoons. That's all I will add. And then we are going to mix everything together. Once the white becomes peaks, then we add our cacao. And you can also then add a bit of vanilla extract if you have vanilla extract. If you have the essence, you can add the essence. If you have chocolate extract, you can also use the chocolate extract. So let's get cooking. And when you are mixing when you put your aquafaba in your mixer, start on the lowest speed possible and then slowly increase the speed. I find that way it works better and you'll actually get it frothing quicker. And then as it begins to increase in volume, you can increase the speed until you get to medium. Let me just get a spatula. So who is making this with me today? Anyone?
That's all the ingredients needed, Bussy?
That is all you need. That is all you need, Myrtle, nothing more.
Okay.
And I'm going to leave it to mix for a bit. And maybe as we mix, if Gwyneth is still around, if people have questions for her, this is the time to ask your questions whilst we wait for our aquafaba to mix and froth up until it eventually peaks.
Yes,
Hi,
I'm still,
Gwyneth.
yes, I'm still here.
Yes, hi,
Okay.
Sister Gwyneth. I want to know is fresh sugar cane juice good?
Your
Or brown sugar?
Boila. Ipani yangu.
sorry?
Boila ipani yangu.
Did you ask if fresh sugar cane juice is good? Was that the question?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, it's very,
That's
very
the
good.
question.
Yes, it's very, very good because it's not processed like sugar. It doesn't go through the addition of chemicals that is done to make sugar. Fresh sugarcane juice contains vitamins, minerals, it contains antioxidants, it contains electrolytes. It's excellent, and it's 75% water, actually 70 to 75% water, and just 13 to 15% natural sugar. But the sugar in it is natural sugar and not the refined product that comes out when you extract the sugar from it. So there are none of the chemicals
So can
added.
you now? So if you're making, like, say you're making fruit juice, then
Sorry?
so you extract the pulp from the passion fruit. If you are making passion fruit drink or juice, for instance,
Right.
can you extract the pulp, say, extract the pulp from any fruit and add sugar cane, the fresh sugar cane juice to it, and it would be good?
Yeah.
To be a good drink?
Exactly.
So
And
that
you
could be a good replacement for the actual sugar, refined sugar crystals.
yes, and also in the case of Boosie's ice cream, she can blend dates, because I was going to share a recipe with you all, but I wasn't sure because I was actually going to give you a recipe on the screen of something called banana gems that I make, a little cupcake like thing. I blend dates and blend bay leaf water and then add the blended dates and then add oats and some other ingredients. You all can get that recipe from me if you want as well. And you get a nice cupcake like treat that is sweet without using any refined sugar at all. So some of these substitutes that you can use for refined sugar, you can use blended dates, you can use natural cane juice as you suggested, you can use molasses or honey depending on what it is you're making, okay, because you don't want to throw off the taste of what you're making. So those are some of the substitutes. Then there's something called stevia, which I never tried. Okay, and right.
I gave nectar.
And then any fruits that's sweet as well.
There's something called Gwyneth, Sister Gwyneth.
Agave.
Agave. That's
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Agave nectar.
Right.
Okay.
So that's another substitute, but I've never tried that one. But
honey. That is sweet. That is sweet. I bought it, but I never used it. But one of my daughters discovered it and drank down the bottle.
And agave melts in hot and cold. It's very good. And they have different. They have light agave and dark agave. I'm not sure what the difference is, but they make things very sweet, and it melts in cold water. It melts in cereal. It melts obviously in hot stuff.
Excellent. Thanks, Veronica. Thanks.
I know a lot of people like stevia, but stevia, unfortunately, unless you know how to add it, it so quickly can make your dish bitter. So I actually don't prefer stevia at all.
All
I
right.
actually am using monk fruit sugar, and it has erythritol in it. And I'm not sure, there's some arguments over that, but I thought since it was monk fruit, made with monk fruit, it was good in it. And unlike agave, monk fruit has 0 glycemic index, whereas agave does. So it's very good for diabetics.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Right.
Mm.
So basically, like for stews, you can
So
also blend.
Gwyneth, for this recipe,
Sorry?
oh, I'm sorry. I was asking for the quarter cup icing sugar that this recipe calls for. How much dates you can use to replace using the icing sugar, the quarter cup icing sugar?
Probably about 7. Perhaps about 7 days.
This ice cream.
And well, it's chocolate, so it wouldn't do anything to the color. So yeah, perhaps about 7 days. What do you think, Busi? You think 7 days? I would say about.
Busi can hear us at the moment because she's using the mixer for the aquafaba.
Oh, okay. So Davina, about 7 days.
Okay, for how much? To what?
Quarter cup of icing sugar, icing powder.
Yes, you could use about 7, 8 dates for that to get a nice, good sweet. Dates are very sweet, especially if they're not dried out and hard. You could just pulverize those and you get a really good flavor. What else?
Yes.
What is it you want to make like icing?
No, to replace to substitute the icing sugar in Busi's recipe.
Oh yeah, just use some dates or raisins, sultanos. These can also be used. I find as well, I just use some fruits and it works. So for example, I may have some grape juice that is pure and natural grape juice, and that can be used. Mind you, it is liquid, so you would need to clearly amend and adjust your recipe. So I'm not saying go ahead and try this, otherwise you may get a liquid ice cream. But definitely.
Hello, people.
Hello.
Can I just tell you something? Those who are making this, let me just try and tilt my, can you see? So as you begin to whisk it, it will start changing color and becoming lighter and lighter in color until it becomes egg white, okay? So this is a game of patience. We need to keep whisking until we get to the egg white color and also the consistency that we're looking for. So those of you who are making this dessert, you also need to be on the lookout for the change in color, okay? You can carry on.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying for the ice cream. So for example, I use, when I'm making my ice creams from scratch, I use ripe bananas or ripe plantains or the coconut jelly, the white part from the coconut. That these give it, they're very sweet. And I'm telling you, when you make the ice cream with it, you don't even know there is no sugar in it. And I do use honey at times or agave. So you can always add any of this to it that you want, but I don't always use them because I don't always have them. So I just go ahead and use just fruits. and it gives it a really nice sweet. No one can tell that there is nothing, that there is no sweetener in it.
Question.
Yes,
Can you
dear.
can you use the date sugar to the regular sugar 1:1? So if I have date sugar, can I use a date sugar instead of the processed sugar? Would it be the same thing?
I am not 100% sure in terms of equivalency, in terms of how much the strength of the sweetness that you would like, that, you know, or that's recommended. You know, like if you want to bake like a cake, and if it says 2 cups of sugar, if you could use 1 cup of date sugar or so. But when so I don't know the substitution. To be honest with you, it's a mighty long time I have not used sugar. So I really don't remember. And I just get the dates. I taste my mixtures before I put them in the oven. And I would use, let's say, I'm gonna make a 8-inch cake. I'm gonna use about 2 cups of dates. Or you could even use less. It depends what other fruits you've got in it. So for example, when I make the Christmas fruit cake, I will use date, I will use sultanos, I will use raisins, and all these are sweet. So, and I use the pure grape juice. I don't put any sugar in it. And I don't really follow a standard where I say, okay, change this sugar for this and use this amount instead. My recipes are slightly different because they're made up differently from, I don't necessarily try to substitute or to use the equivalent of dates to sugar. I do it differently. I create the recipes from scratch, and it's just done different. So there is no comparison as to how much sugar you use. For example, this dessert that I'm gonna show you, I didn't use any sugar in it, and I just made it last night. I didn't use any sugar whatsoever, but it's not looking at another recipe to say, okay, wonder how much sugar I could use instead of this. It's a slightly different creation. So you taste your mixture, and that's what I did. I just tasted my mixture to see if it was sweet enough. And you know, when you start out, when you're making a mixture, you may find that it could taste okay when it is not cooked, but by the time it is cooked, it could taste fresh. So you want to just add a little bit extra for that to buffer sweetness. So I just used my mixture last night. I used, what did I use in it again? Honey. I just used honey. I used a few tablespoons of honey in it, and it worked well. But I tasted my mixture to see that I was happy with it before I stick it in the oven. And as vegans, what we have to try and do, we have to try and start thinking differently. We have to try and start thinking differently, have a different approach to how we prepare our food. You can't always take, sometimes you can take a dish from your old menu, right? And veganize it, but you sometimes you can't. Sometimes what you have to think of is creativity. What can I create? You have to think on a different level of starting something new from scratch, something different, because what you will find out there, and especially as this time that we are living in, as things will intensify, you will find that a lot of the ingredients, you may not be able to get them, and you will have to use what you have on hand. When you have to use what you have in your cupboard, you may not be able to take somebody else's recipe and spin it here, there, and everywhere. You may have to create a recipe. So, and this recipe that I'm gonna talk you through, when Lucy is finished, you will understand what I'm saying. And this, you could give it a try. There are some things you may be able to substitute, as well as you may just have to look at this recipe and get an inspiration from it and try something of your own. but we'll work with.
Davina, can
Yes,
I
dear.
interrupt you? I just want to show them so that those who
Okay.
are working can see. Can you see that the color is becoming lighter and lighter? I've added the sugar, and as you can see, it's beginning to thicken and the volume is also increasing. So we keep going until we get to the stiff peak stage, and then that's when we're going to add our carob or our cacao powder. Okay?
Yeah. How much sugar? Sorry, I missed the ingredients, but I've done my aquafaba.
Okay, so it's quarter cup. The recipe calls for quarter cup aquafaba, quarter cup sugar, castor sugar. That's nice, Abigail. And an eighth of a cup of cocoa powder. Those are the 3 ingredients. And then you can just do a drop or 2 of vanilla extract, not essence, if you have it. If you don't have it, it's a chocolate mousse. You don't really have to have vanilla flavor in there. Yes, Abigail?
Yeah, thank you. I was like, don't we need chickpeas?
For what?
For this recipe. I boiled some chickpeas because I saw the.
Oh no, we are using the aquafaba, Abigail. We're using
All right, so chickpeas was for
yes.
aquafaba. That's fun. All right, thank you.
All right, Davina, you can carry on whilst I work.
Okay, okay. All right.
Can someone put the recipe in the chat or send it out?
Yes,
Because
she
I
will.
didn't know what we were making. I just was told to join.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. She will indeed put the recipe at the chat, in the chat afterwards. No, did I answer the question? Gwyneth, are you still there?
I actually was trying to find out, I just got the the date sugar, never used it. So I was just trying to get a baseline as to what it tastes like, but
no, I wouldn't be able to answer because I've never used a date sugar. I just grab the dates and I just use a quarter cup or a half a cup or a cup or just a couple of dates.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. All right, Gwyneth, I had one question, and maybe you're not able to answer this question, but maybe someone else in the online may have an answer. So there is like a number of researches out there about like cocoa powder that it is actually caffeine free. However, when it is processed, the processing that it goes through, that is what contaminates it, why it has caffeine. Are you able to shed any light on this? So if I should have the cocoa tree in my yard, I should be fine making my own cocoa powder from it.
Right. So yes, cocoa. I think you said cocoa powder is caffeine free, but I think you made a mistake. What you meant to ask is if cocoa beans are caffeine free. And yes, cocoa beans are caffeine free because I was doing some research when I was looking at substitutes for chocolate, and I discovered that cocoa beans are caffeine free totally, but the process that cocoa beans are put through to make chocolate and chocolate powder, that process involves fermenting the cocoa.
Yes.
And
okay.
That is what, well, the cocoa beans are not fermented. I should say cocoa beans aren't fermented, but the process that it goes through to make chocolate is what causes fermentation and what causes most of the harm with chocolate. And then to make cocoa powder, you use chocolate and it goes through further processing, and then harmful ingredients such as baking soda, which aggravates heart problems and stuff like that, which causes swelling and inflammation and stuff like that. Baking soda, that is. Because baking soda is added to chocolate to make cocoa powder is even more unhealthy, yes, than chocolate. So the chocolate is made from the cocoa beans, and the chocolate goes through a the cocoa beans go through a fermentation process in order to make the chocolate, and then the cocoa powder is made from the chocolate, and additional ingredients are added such as baking soda, which makes it more harmful. So if you make your own chocolate or cocoa from the beans, which I don't know how to do that. So if it can be done without fermenting, then it would be fine.
Is there anyone online that may have an idea how to make your own cocoa powder from the beans naturally?
I still have a question. I'm unclear for something. So how does the caffeine, I understand the fermenting, but we're talking about caffeine here. How does the caffeine affect the cocoa and the chocolate?
Yeah, that's a good question.
In the processing, it gets
caffeine
and heavy metals as well.
Let me double check that, because I realized while I was saying it that question is a good question. So just a minute, let me just check.
Yes. I did see some research as well that made mention of the roots picking it up from the soil, but that's the heavy metal. Is there anyone else online? Oliver Perry, the famous name person. Are you able to shed any light? Maybe you're on mute.
I'm just looking at it. Just give me a second, Devina. I will put my input in a while.
Okay, all right.
Are you guys asking the difference between cacao and chocolate?
Yes. Are you able to shed any light on that?
Well, I just Googled and it says here, got past it. It says, well, okay, what is the difference between cacao and cocoa? It says, while cacao refers to cacao beans that have not been roasted, which is called cocoa, is made of beans have been roasted. Cocoa, on the other hand, is processed chocolate product such as chocolate bars and powder. It asked, is cacao better than cocoa? Cacao powder is known to have a higher antioxidant content than cocoa, and cacao is the purest form of chocolate you can consume, which means it is raw and much less processed than cocoa powder or chocolate bars. But what I thought was interesting was that it says here, I said, there was a drop down that said, why does cacao have a warning label? And it says, why is there a California Prop 65 warning label on the packaging of your cacao products? And it says that the levels of cadmium in their products are well below a level that has been shown to have any adverse health consequences. So I think if you have this bean in your backyard and you're trying to use it, and of course, use it raw, you might need to do some research because there's some hazards on it. Even, oh, by the way, and someone mentioned heavy metals. This here, does cocoa contain heavy metals? Despite the health benefits of cocoa, recently there's been a high food safety concern regarding the presence and levels of heavy metals such as nickel, cadmium, chromium, and lead, both in cocoa beans and cocoa products like cocoa butter, cocoa liquor, cocoa powder, and chocolates. But where was that thing? It was saying cacao. Well, first I have to say, the same people that tell you to eat chocolate are the same people tell you to drink wine every day. So, you have to think about that. Because
Yes.
it says cacao is a top source of antioxidant packed with a full unadulterated taste. It's high antioxidant nutrient levels make it a healthy choice to incorporate in your daily diet. So, and then it says, is raw cacao healthier than cocoa? It says the bottom line, use of cacao versus cocoa on chocolate products is inconsistent. Generally, raw cacao products made from fermented, dried, unroasted cacao beans are less processed and healthier. Still, standard dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa, the good source of beneficial antioxidants and minerals. So there was something here that I saw that was basically saying that it could be toxic, the cacao. So if you're gonna do it raw, please or try to do it natural from your tree or whatever it is that suggestion was made, you might want to check that out, because it says, does cacao have side effects? Eating large amounts might cause caffeine
The
related
question
side
is
effects.
on whether or not it's
She's talking. Are we gonna let her finish?
Thank you.
Sorry.
Eating large amounts might cause caffeine related side effects such as nervousness, increased urination, sleeplessness, and a fast heartbeat. Cocoa can cause allergic skin reactions, constipation, and might trigger migraine headaches. So just whoever has the tree in their backyard, I guess, go to YouTube University or Google College and make sure you are researching so you don't get some other side effects that you're not realizing.
Okay, thank you. Someone else was gonna say something afterwards. Thank you. That's valuable information right there. But as she says, go and do your research, because there are many researches out there that will tip the scale on any side that you want it.
Davina, can
Yes.
I just come and show them what I have now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what we have at the Mo. And in terms of texture, from the recipe, you want it sort of like this texture, because then you are going to put it in the fridge. They actually recommend freezing it. But I would say, looking at this, it's still quite runny, but it's also because I have not put a lot of sugar in there, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to add a bit more of the sugar just to bring it to a slightly stiffer consistency. And then I am going to put it in these ramekins and refrigerate it. And then
Let
tomorrow,
me see. Sorry, could you just let me see the consistency again?
here we go.
Okay, okay, yeah, it is still running.
Running.
But you know what you could add to that? I've tried this ice cream with the chickpeas. Some of the cooked chickpeas.
Well, I don't have the cooked chickpeas.
Oh, okay, all right, all right.
So I will add cornstarch maybe instead of the sugar, because as it then rests overnight, it's going to firm up.
Yeah.
Can you check mine? It seems runny as well.
Yeah,
Actually,
that is also quite runny.
Can't you add ground chia and it'll thicken it up?
Or
I have chickpeas though. Can I add chickpeas, Davina?
but do you could add a few chickpeas, yes, to it and blend. Or food processor.
But I've not added the cocoa powder. Should I add now?
Okay, let's thicken it first before we add the cocoa.
All right.
I was actually suggesting chia seeds, ground chia seeds, not the chickpea bean. Because chia seeds, when you add them, doesn't it thicken everything up?
Yeah, it's gonna swell up. You could add chia, but you can add the chickpeas because it's a chickpea ice cream. You can add the chickpea, you just need to blend it out so it becomes like a paste, and you could use it and the cooked chickpeas, and it will work to make a nice smooth ice cream consistency as you continue to blend it.
Any tips on how to make chia peas not tasty, have that texture of sand in your mouth?
The chia?
Yeah.
I love that texture of this chia. No, I guess maybe if you ground it, ground it out first. I don't know if you've tried it grounded and see if you get that same consistency.
Okay.
That you don't like, yeah. But I like the little bubbles, the little balls that it forms. The other thing that you could have added to your ice cream is a frozen ripe banana. And you just put it in the food processor with the mixture that you have there, and it will be transformed.
Oh, tell you what. I have a mixture of frozen banana and mango, because I was trying to make that ice cream you showed us sometime.
Yes, perfect. The mango is gonna give you more of a, what's that other one called? Sorbet. The mango is gonna give you more of a sorbet consistency, unless you have something like coconut cream or something really creamy to help to neutralize that. But
I have.
You have, okay.
I have.
The bananas, if you've got the frozen bananas, just pick out a few and add to what you have there.
Okay.
And put it in the food processor, and it will give you a perfect ice cream.
Okay, so I am back. I added 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and it has given us the texture that we are looking for.
Okay.
Right.
It looks good.
Now, as an ice cream maker, and this is a tip you're not ever gonna get from me again. Those of you who do this business of putting stuff in a blender, putting it in a lunch tin, freezing it, you often notice that your ice cream is quite icy, right?
Icy.
Which is why they will say to you, put it in the freezer, take it out the next day, blend it again, and put it back in the freezer. Now, you are trying to address the iciness of this, what you call ice cream. Cornstarch is going to help you reduce the level of iciness in your finished product, right? So, yeah. So you can use cornstarch, you can use guar gum if you use guar gum in your food, right? So that's all the tips you're ever gonna get from me about ice cream making. So I hope you put this down.
But how much? How much to use?
It depends on the quantity that you're making.
Well, for this recipe then?
For this, I said I added 2 tablespoons of cornstarch here.
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
Because let me just type
2 tablespoons.
Okay, 2 tablespoons, thank you.
Okay, so now I am going to now put this in the ramekins. And this is why I call this a mousse, not an ice cream, because if you try and freeze this and eat it tomorrow or even 4 hours later, even if you refrigerate it, you are not going to get ice cream. You're going to get a mousse, but not ice cream. So that is our demo. Yeah. Davina, Myrtle, and Loy understand why I am speaking so passionately.
Yes, she is an ice cream connoisseur, people. She makes ice creams for a living. A very good quality brand. All right, I will show.
Davina, let me just show. So this is enough to make 1 ramekin actually. So if you want to make more, you then just simply, this is enough for 150 grams of ice cream or finished product. So if you're making for 4, you then make a cup of aquafaba and a cup of everything else. So you then just quadruple the recipe. And what you will also notice with mine, because I ground the cacao bean myself, I didn't grind it finely. I ground this in a coffee maker.
Okay.
Right? So if you have a fine powder, like your carob powder, it's not going to be as grainy as this. And you will also have a consistent color. Now, what you can do, once you've put it in your ramekin like this, I thought I had some leftover ground almonds. Let me just check. You can sprinkle your almonds or your raspberries or strawberries on this, refrigerate it, allow it to set for about 4 hours, and then you can serve it. What you can also do is, if you have some coulis, like blueberry or raspberry coulis, raspberry goes very well with chocolate. So you would put a layer of this, and then a layer of your raspberry coulis, and then a layer of this, and then top it with raspberries.
Oh,
Okay?
it sounds nice.
And then you can refrigerate it. The next day or 4 hours later, when you are now serving it, you will then have a very, very attractive dessert to share with your guests or with your family. So I'll just check. I was making some almond and cherry ice cream earlier, and I thought I had some leftover ground almond or almond, toasted almond. Let me just check, and I'll sprinkle this on it and put it in the fridge. So we are done for this dessert.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Busi. I would have loved to be able to taste it. All right.
So,
yes, please do. Go ahead. Ask questions.
Cornstarch. When you supposed to cook cornstarch?
You're saying, aren't we supposed to cook cornstarch?
Yes.
You can cook cornstarch, but already it is a processed product anyways. So as I said to you before, I make ice cream, right? And you can use your starch or your gum, your guar gum or your guar starch, and the refrigeration process or the freezing process will take care of the need for you to cook it. So you are using it slightly differently from when you cook it. It's a thickening agent, but here you're actually using it to bind the water particles that are in your dessert.
Davina?
Yes?
I'd just like to say something on the cocoa bean question.
Okay, go ahead.
Answer the lady's question. Right, so...
She did between strawberry to mango.
So for the person who was concerned about the caffeine.
Sorry, is someone else talking in the background? Could just be a little bit quiet. Okay.
Right, so first of all, when we Googling to do research, we always have to check a whole lot of sources and sites, as somebody probably mentioned before, because one might only give us part of the information, you know. But based on what I was just looking over there, the cocoa bean, some say it contains no caffeine, some say it contains 0.3457%, which means 0.003 of a percentage, a very, 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 very minimal amount of caffeine. However, they say that it contains theobromine, which is another harmful chemical, which is probably where what Veronica was saying would come in, because that's another brain-altering chemical. So apparently the cocoa beans contain very, very, very minimal caffeine but other harmful chemicals. And the cocoa bean now is what is made into cocoa powder and also what is made into chocolate. And when it's made into chocolate, the fermentation process apparently causes it to contain the amount of caffeine, or maybe there's added caffeine, but cocoa powder and chocolate is said to have more caffeine than the cocoa bean. Okay, so there's the cocoa bean or the cacao bean, which contains very minimal caffeine, and it also contains theobromine, which is a harmful chemical. And then it's fermented to make chocolate. So that fermentation process, as well as the original theobromine, as well as the sugar, as well as the combination of milk and sugar, is what makes chocolate so terribly harmful. And then cocoa powder now is fermented some more, and further chemicals are added to it. So the cocoa powder is much more harmful as well than the cacao bean. All right, but apparently all three have some level of harm. So we should stay away from all. We should stay away from all. So I don't know if that cleared it up. I don't know if the person, well, I know you had asked, I think, Davina, and somebody else had asked about the caffeine content. I don't know if that clears it up a little bit. Davina?
Did that answer? Sorry, did that answer your question? I think that was a lot of information there, and that was some good information. You could share some of these links with me, and I could send it out on my database to whoever, you know, maybe the person will be able to pick it up, or we could share it via WhatsApp.
Okay.
Yeah, so whoever it is, they will be able to get it. All right, lovely. Is that it? Anyone has any more questions for Boosie or for Gwyneth before I go into the next sweet treat? And I'm gonna ask you you could grab your pen and your paper and make some notes. However, I'm very happy to share this PowerPoint. So I take it is my time. No one is talking to me.
Yes, Davina, it's your time.
Okay, all right, thanks, Myrtle. All right, I'm so sorry, I cannot, not sure what's happening with my camera, why I cannot get my camera to come off. All right, what I wanna, before I go any further, I'll just whisper a little word of prayer. Dear Lord, I want to thank you for this opportunity to share this fantastic recipe that you have inspired me with. And I hope that everyone else here will be inspired and will try this recipe at home and may find it a true blessing, not just to themselves, but to their family as well as their community. May be used as an entering wedge. All right, so firstly, I thought I would make a black bean brownie. But before I even go into that, I just want to say, what do we do when we have sometimes, you know, leftovers? You know, sometimes we struggle to find a way to use up leftovers. We end up throwing it in the bin, even though it may still be good food, but you don't want to repeat the same thing, or you may have, you know, someone in the house a little bit fussy, don't want the same thing that they had yesterday, don't want it again today or even tomorrow, or, you know, it just, or you're probably bored with it. Now, this recipe that I'm going to share with you today is a very good way of using up some leftovers. This is called, when you use up your leftovers to make another dish, it is called a réchauffé dish, all right? Now, the other thing is, I thought, let me make a black bean brownie. And why did I even come up with that in the first place? So so normally I don't use chocolate or coffee or anything like that. And there's none in this, by the way. However, I was talking to someone recently, and then they explained to me that they, you know, just what we're talking about, that the bean doesn't have any caffeine. It's when it goes through the processing. And I sort of ran with that. And that's why I thought, oh, I'm gonna do, now I can use some chocolate. So I'm gonna make some brownie. But then last night, now when I was ready, the thought came to me. And then I remember in one of my research a long time ago, which I wasn't even searching for caffeine. I was searching for something. I was doing a research on heavy metals. And that's when I discovered that the chocolate actually has a lot of heavy metals in it, not just from its processing, but also the fact that the plant actually picks up some heavy metal from the roots. So I thought to myself, you know what? To be on the safe side, I won't make a chocolate brownie with the chocolate powder. Even if I make the chocolate powder from scratch, I won't. I will just try to stay safe. And then I thought to myself, okay, then what am I gonna make then if I'm not gonna make this chocolate brownie? And I asked the Lord. Oh, okay, thank you. I don't know. I thought we were recording. All right, so I consulted with the Lord on what to make, and then I was sort of pacing my living room a little bit, and I'm like, oh boy, I've got myself in trouble. What am I gonna make? I need to make a black bean brownie or something close to it. It's pouring, by the way, cats and dogs, because we now have storm here in Jamaica. So whatever I'm gonna make, I need to be making this from my cupboard, from what I have inside. I'm not able to go and purchase anything between yesterday and last night and today, because the weather and everybody is preparing for storm. So everywhere is closed up early. Anyway, I was there pacing, and then I uttered it out of my mouth. What exactly am I gonna make? I was gonna use some beetroot to make a black bean brownie, but then the beetroots that I have, they're not quite sufficient. Anyway, as I mentioned it, both of my friends who are here with me just uttered, use rice, use your black rice. And I thought, wow, that must be an inspiration straight from the Lord, because I had that leftover black rice in the fridge. So what you're looking at here is a black bean brownie with black sticky rice. And I think this is just a really brilliant way, one, of using up leftovers, two, of really using up your beans, getting your beans in your diet every day. Because as we know, as vegans or vegetarians, whoever is trying to achieve optimum health, need to consume at least 1 to 2 servings of beans per day. And it's always been one of my burdens to create recipes of how one can get that 1 to 2 serving of beans in their diet per day without becoming bored, right? So I'm always thinking and contemplating, and Lord, give me a recipe, give me another recipe, how I can make beans creative. Because we know a lot of people don't like to eat beans. They will say it bloats them up. They will find every excuse in the world. They simply just don't like it. When you become a vegan, your protein, your main set of protein should be from your beans. It's loaded in fiber, which keeps the alimentary canal properly clean. It keeps diseases at bay. It balances the hormone. It lowers blood sugar. It lowers blood pressure. It cleans up the skin. It just makes you look good, right? So how do you get your beans in every day, 1 to 2 servings of beans every day, without running out of ideas before the week finishes, without giving the family bean stew for breakfast and bean stew for dinner? All right, so what I'm gonna share with you here today is one recipe with a spin-off. And it's a fantastic recipe. what you want to get is some black sticky rice and black beans, or in my case, I actually use the black urid. So now that's another bean, but you could use black beans. Black beans are more popular than urid and probably more, it's probably easier to get as well. You'll probably find it in the shops easier. Urid is a bean that is, it's originally, well, I'm not sure about originally, but you want urid, you will find it in the Indian culture, right? It's very popular in their culture. It used to make dal. It is sprouted, and it's eaten in salads or used to make raw dishes. But it's a very popular dish, bean as well. It is black, just like the black beans. It's rich in nutrition, just like the black beans. The taste is very light and easy. It's not, you know, sometimes you find some beans, they're just overpowering in flavor. No, the urid bean is very light in flavor. So I chose to use the urid instead of the black beans, even though I had black beans. But the recipe will say black beans and you use basically the same amount. But I just wanted to try with the urid to show you that you can just use any beans. And this recipe, you could also do it with chickpeas or red kidney beans or butter beans or whatever beans you have. You could use it in this recipe instead of what the recipe calls for. So here we've got some really fancy party balls, right? So you're having a lot of people over for, let's say Christmas is coming. Is it? I guess so. I guess that must be the next major holiday. This is when you have a lot of these little treats popping out, right? And going on the table. And you want your table to look nice. Even though you're a vegan and you're maybe going to try to go whole food, plant-based and simple, you still want your table to look nice. You still want to have food that the children will like, the guests will like. They will eat it and they will come back for more. They will talk about it. They will enjoy it. But you want to know as well that whatever they're eating is not causing any harm whatsoever to their bodies. So you don't feel guilty about feeding your family or your friends. And you want to know that it also tastes good, because we're tired of hearing that vegan food tastes like, right? No, we don't want to hear that. We want to serve food that is just completely outstanding, right? That by all standards, by all measures, by all means, it must be outstanding. That is what we want. And that is what we try and aim to do on the VeganTrition cooking and nutrition course. Food should not only look good and taste good, but food must also be nutrient dense. You're going to find all of this in these two desserts, which is basically from one mixture. Now, I will be telling you other things that you could do to these, which may not be written in my PowerPoint. So I want you to listen keenly. It is being recorded, so you will be able to get a copy of this to share. Let me just make sure that this is, okay, yeah, it is also being live streamed. All right, fantastic, right? So black bean sweet treats. And we will move on to the next slide. It's not moving. Okay, so what do I have?
You're asking us, Davina?
We can't hear you.
Did we lose her? Davina, did we lose you? It seems as if we lost Davina. We're not hearing you, Davina. I see that you put that you're hearing us clearly, but we're not hearing you.
I think she said she's having a storm in her area, so maybe that's the problem. I know the news said that there was something coming from that way to Florida.
Yes, you did say. Mm.
Loy, there was something that she placed in the chat. Would you be able to share that for us, please?
Yes, Myrtle.
Thanks. Go ahead, Davina. Let's see if we can hear you without an echo.
Okay.
It is echoing. It's echoing, Davina.
Wow.
So everyone, she's hearing us, but for some reason, we're not hearing her. So Loy can go ahead and post her info. She said she will also send the PowerPoint.
So would you like to have the video or just the text?
How will we get the PowerPoint?
No, she was going to send the PowerPoint to Loy for now. But the video, Loy, I would play the video that she has there.
Okay. Bear with me. I'm just retrieving that for you.
Okay. Now, for those who are asking about the PowerPoint, if you drop your email address in the group chat, I will make sure to save that for her. Okay? I hope everyone heard me.
Okay. I heard you and we are ready.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Davina, and welcome to the Natural Remedies Kitchen. Today, I just want to remind you that we should be having beans for a good healthy vegan diet. We should be having beans, at least 1 to 2 servings of beans per day, and that is 7 days per week for good gut health and hormone balancing, and for many other good results. Now, if you should have beans 7 days per week, you and your family, it is highly likely that you're going to make stew peas or stew beans every day. Your family is going to get bored and they're going to want something different. Yourself, you're going to get bored. You're going to wonder, how can I do these beans? What I want to show you today are a few different ways how you can use your beans. So today I have chosen to use black beans, and I just want to show you different ways how we can use the black beans. And right here, all I've got is sweets. So we've got a black bean brownie here, and then we've got some black bean balls over there. It's all sweet. Over here we've got some cream, sweet cream, some black bean sweet cream. And I just want to tell you a little bit about it. So I will start with the black bean brownie. I'll take one piece. As you can see, so you see the texture. It's quite sticky like a brownie. Now there's no chocolate in this, but there is carob in it. Okay, and I also want to introduce you to my friend Fiona. Morning. So Fiona was with me last night when I made these, and we have been waiting to try them. So now we are going to try them, and we're going to tell you the results. And you will get the recipes later as you're on the free VeganTrition number 7 taster session. So Bussy will share the recipe with you if I'm not online. Otherwise, you will be able to pick the recipe up from the website, or it will be sent to your email. So do subscribe with us so you can get the recipe for later. But now we're going to test this. As you can see, the quality, you want to come closer. So we've got sticky black rice in this. We've got the black bean, we've got carob, we've got some almond, and we've got almond flour. We've got your vanilla and other essences. And I'm going to try that with some of the cream. So let's get that on my plate. Would you like some as well?
Thank you.
All right, so let's go ahead.
It tastes so good. Very delicious.
Thank you very much. And we'll give you more details later on.
All right, so there we go. Busi, she said that you will share the recipe. Did you get it from her yet?
Hi, Myrtle.
Hi.
I do have something that she shared earlier.
Okay.
Let me see how best I can type it on the chat. Then people can have it.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
Also, people are wondering, people are asking if the slide can still be shared, even though we're not hearing the audio, if you can just go through the slides. Like,
Lloyd, did you get the slides? Because I don't have them.
Okay, I'm just checking now for you.
I think she posted the slides on the WhatsApp group, so I guess people can resort to the WhatsApp group.
okay, she just said she can share the slides. In the chat, she said she can share the slides. So I guess she'll share them now.
Oh, so go ahead and be sure to, for those who wanted to take pictures, you can go ahead and snap it now. So to be added to the WhatsApp group, you have to be registered for the class. I think Loy went and placed some information in the chat. Someone was asking to be added. Yes, we're seeing the slides clearly, Davina. We are seeing them.
Oh, actually, Myrtle,
yes,
I don't need to type the recipe because it's actually on the slide here.
Yes, so they can go ahead and take a screenshot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna, she wants me to read out loud, pulverize all in the food processor. Okay, so it's 1 cup cooked glutinous black rice, 3/4 cup black bean, 1 cup of oat flour, and you get oat flour by just grinding the oats to a powder. You get 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder, 1 teaspoon nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of honey or agave, 5 tablespoons, something just popped up, sorry about that. I'm trying to close my pop-up. Okay, 1/2 cup honey or agave, 5 tablespoons carob powder, 2 tablespoons coconut oil, and 150 grams of coconut milk powder, cocoa milk powder.
What is glutinous black rice? What is glutinous black rice?
That's actually the name of the rice. When you go into your health food store,
okay,
you have to ask for glutinous black rice. Yeah.
Is it okay to cook? I've been taught in medical ministry class, unless it's for medicinal reasons, we want to avoid cinnamon and vanilla cinnamon and nutmeg as well as extracts, because it irritates the cinnamon and nutmeg, irritates the lining of the stomach, and the vanilla is preferred to use vanilla bean or pure vanilla, not the extract made with alcohol.
Can I just respond to that extract issue? Vanilla extract is actually made from vanilla bean. It is a way of extracting the flavor from your vanilla bean before it actually dries out.
Right.
You can also make extract using vegetable glycerin.
That's
Not
right.
all extracts are made from alcohol. So
That's
you
right.
can use glycerin. There's someone who also makes extracts from, no, that's essential oils, not extracts.
No, you can make extract. You are correct. You can make extracts from glycerin. You are correct.
Thank you. So the point that I'm making is that there's this misconception that using vanilla paste is a higher order of getting flavor than using vanilla extract. The extract is actually derived from the vanilla bean. And it is a way, as I say, of extracting the flavor from the vanilla bean whilst it is still high in moisture content before it dries. So I'm just putting it out there because sometimes people then get all caught up about vanilla paste or the proper vanilla bean. And the vanilla bean, as it is transported from wherever, so the best vanilla in the world comes from Madagascar, right? Now, as you transport it from Madagascar to the US, you are losing moisture content, and therefore you are losing quality. By the time you buy this vanilla bean on Amazon or whatever, it is no longer as high in moisture and value as if you are going to get your vanilla bean, transport it over a day or two, and then make the extract yourself.
Well, I got my vanilla from Costco when it came in a glass test tube. And I've used it once because it was very expensive. It only had like 3 long beans in it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's questioning the flavor of the vanilla, only the alcohol content. Because if you read the little bottle, even before I was conscientious of it, it has double-digit % of alcohol that some people say don't worry about because it cooks out. So some people even cook with straight alcohol to flambe and etc. And they say it burns out, no problem. But I'm just saying what I learned in, I don't know what faith you guys are, but in a writer that I value, she says that, we should stay away from alcohols. And
yes, Veronica, we are on the same page. which is why I say to you, you can get extracts that are actually made from vegetable glycerin. And when we talk of extracts here on our course, we are very much conscious of the fact that the average extract out there is made from pure alcohol, right? So when we talk extract, we are talking about extract that uses vegetable glycerin. You can also make extract from juice, by the way, at home. If you have the vanilla bean, you can extract it even using orange juice.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I didn't know you could find the vanilla with the glycerin. Thank you. I'll have to look for it. But I just use the vanilla bean, but I will look for vanilla made with glycerin. Good to know. I thought just the medicinal extracts, like, clove and such like that, those extracts were made, look for those in glycerin. Didn't know the edible, the ones for baking are made with glycerin as well. Good to know. But is it okay to use the cinnamon and the nutmeg? Or is there, want us to use cardamom?
Davina is saying you can leave out the spices if you want. You can leave those out. That's her note to me right now. He said the extract is from glycerin, but you can leave the spices out if you want. Okay, or use different ones.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Davina go ahead.
Can I say something on the spice, on the cinnamon and the nutmeg?
Go ahead.
Right, so you can use bay leaf. And I also have a cinnamon substitute recipe that I can send if she WhatsApps me. But you can use bay leaf as well.
Okay, so like she'll use substitutes.
Yes, my info is in the chat already. Thank you.
Okay, Davina, you can continue if you're hearing me. We have to round up soon. Our time has been spent. So is that the last slide, Davina? Okay, so it's a pulverize all in a food processor, taste and adjust as needed. Pour into a lined pan, and you're gonna line the pan with parchment paper. The unprocessed parchment paper is best. Bake for about 45 minutes until finished, when it slides or pulls away, and then leave to cool. Okay, when the sides pull away, or you can stick a knife or a shish kebab stick or a small item in the middle of it, and when it comes out clean, then you know it's done. Okay.
You mentioned unprocessed parchment paper. How do you know that it's processed? I never knew that. I have parchment paper. How can you tell? I'm gonna go look at mine right now.
There's a dark one and a bleached one. So you use the dark colored one that has not been bleached. Okay, at this time, he said, okay, the party balls, decorate them with coconut flakes, grounded almond flour, jam, Kool-Aid, and serve with or without cream. Okay, adjust your recipe as necessary. Now, what we're giving you is basic information, adjust it to you. Some people are allergic to certain items, so certain people cannot use certain items, so adjust it to your liking. Don't fuss about what's on the recipe, just make yours suitable for you. Leave a little bit of the mixture in the pan and add 4 tablespoons of almond flour, 4 tablespoons of flaxseed meal, 6 tablespoons of honey, and a handful of almond flakes. Okay, so that's the recipe for the balls. And you said you're gonna use a coffee alternative. There's different alternatives. There's Cafix, there's Roma, there's Carob. There's a lot of alternatives on the market, so use one of them. Okay, so form the balls and serve as a raw treat, or put them in the steamer and steam for 30 minutes and allow to cool. Decorate them as you please. Roll them in the coconut flour, almond flour, almond flakes. Oh, like I said that already. Put some in the oven and bake for about 10 to 15 minutes, glaze with honey or whatever you desire, and decorate. Okay, dessert, the family will love. Bake some, chill some, eat some, share some. All right. So we already shared the video. Now for the cream, take a screenshot, a quarter cup of the thick aquafaba with a few chickpeas in it, quarter cup of soaked cashews, 1 tablespoon of almond flour, 6 to 8 tablespoons of honey to taste, 1 tablespoon of the vanilla extract, handful of sprouted black beans, and a quarter cup of olive oil. All right. That has brought us to the end of our slide. And thank you guys very much for participating. I hope that you've learned a recipe that you can try. Remember, a recipe is not in concrete. It's not concrete. You are the master of your lab. Adjust it. So you don't like black beans, use red beans. You don't like red beans, use lima beans. You don't like lima beans, use what you like. You don't want to use spice, use something else. You don't want to use agave, use whatever you choose, okay? So adjust it to you. Remember, when you're getting ready to eat, you need to be happy. If you're not happy, no matter what nice stuff you eat, let me put on my video so you can see my face. No matter what you eat or how expensive it is or how glorious it is, if you're not happy when you're eating, you might as well eat sand because it's not going to benefit your body. It's going to stay there and brew cancer cells, all the stress. So be happy, okay? Take what you learn. Yes, dear.
Before we wrap up, can I just quickly show them the dessert? I put it in the freezer to fast track it so that they see what it looks like, the final product.
All righty.
So here we go. You see, it's a mousse. It is not falling off the ramekin.
Right.
I've just tasted a bit. So I garnished it with the toasted almond and a strawberry. And then Abigail was also making it. So Abigail, please share with us the taste
Miss Abigail.
and your own version.
Let me look for her. Miss Abigail, where are you?
I'm going to pin her. Let me spotlight her.
I'm seeing you, Bussy.
Oh, I've just spotlighted her for everyone.
Okay.
Maybe you need to do that.
Okay, so I have both of you pinned now. Okay, Abigail.
Yeah, you see, it's not dropping off. It's quite firm, but I haven't decorated it. I'm doing my coolants, so I'll put it in
your coolants. Okay, now once you're finished, you need to put it in. Are you in the kitchen club?
Yeah.
So you need to post it in the kitchen club and in your classroom, your last classroom. Okay. And share it with anybody who you've invited this afternoon.
Okay.
And what does it taste like, Abigail? Tell us about the taste.
It tastes like a mousse. That's why I looked at the ingredients. I had everything in the cupboard, and I love mousses, but I've stopped buying all those things. So now I know what's in it, and I can eat it happily, and it came out perfect. It tastes like mousse. It smells like mousse. It's just divine.
Okay. Excellent. I guess I have to try mine. I have to try mine and post it, Bussy. Abigail inspired me. Well done, Abigail. Anybody else did theirs? Did anybody else do theirs? Proud of you, Abigail. Okay. At this time,
well done, Abigail.
I'm going to turn over to Loy.
All right, what's up, Toppy?
Loy, are you hearing me? So
Yes, Myrtle.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for coming and for taking the time and for staying with us for 2 glorious hours or a little bit more. And despite all the challenges, I hope that you have gained at least one recipe that you'll enjoy. You have 2 to choose from, but hopefully one would have settled with you, and this will be a new addition to your table. Now, how can you go about registering for the VeganTrition nutrition and cooking course? I have posted in the link in the chat the link to the online application form for you. So if you have a look in the chat, I've done that a couple of times and I've done it more recently again. Now, so the course begins on the 12th and we go up to the 6th of August. Now, the classroom time will be for 3 weeks, and the final week will be an additional week, which will be an enterprising week or business week, as we like to call it. At the end of the week of the 6th, so on the 8th, we will have our graduation. Yes, so your instructional time will be for 3 weeks. Now, to register, we invite you to make contact with any one of us, or simply click the link that's been posted in the chat and complete the application form there. Okay. So once you've completed the form, you'll be added to the classroom for this particular session, where you'll have access to your class materials, and you'll be able to download those or to take the information as you need so that you can be ready for class on next week, Monday, when we begin. So that is the process. I can stop sharing now.
Okay, thank you, Loy. All right, so. Right, so we do have the information there about the cooking class, and there's also the Natural Remedies Kitchen Club, okay? That meets once every 2 weeks, that's twice a month. So that's another option. Someone put in that they weren't able to afford the class. So another option for you would be the cooking club, all right? Okay, at this time, I would like to ask, let me see if Courtney is here. Magali, are you still present? I'd like to ask Magali to pray first to close, please.
Yes, Myrtle, I am present. I'm just about to step out, but it's okay.
All right.
Yes, thank you so, Heavenly Father Yahweh, for this wonderful session, 2 hours on this platform. We have learned quite a bit, and you have provided so many natural things that we can use to nourish our bodies. Help us, Father, that we may take more initiatives and be more creative in our kitchen so that we can discover new recipes and pass it on to bless others. Thank you for Loy and Myrtle and Davina, Busi, for their willingness to come here to share with us some of the lovely things that they have created. Continue to bless their hands and their minds, and help us, Father, that when we receive those information, we do not keep it to ourselves, but we share it with others. Amen. Bless us as we are about to go our merry ways. Be with us, guide and protect us. This I ask for your son, Yeshua. Hallelujah.
Amen. Amen. Okay.
Amen.
So thank you guys for coming. And for those who wanted the slides, I guess you guys got them. You took pictures of them, or anyway, I'll pass on the emails to Davina, so that she'll be able to follow up with you regarding those. Remember to take a picture of the application link, or just click on it, so it'll take you there now before we come off the platform. And see you in class.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Eugenia.
Thank you.
Thank you, Myrtle.
Thank you, Myrtle.
Davina. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Busi, for
Thank
that.
you. Good night.
Well done,
Bye.
Abigail.
Bye, everyone. Very informative. Bye.
Yes. Thank you, Beverly and Florence.
Oh, my pleasure. God bless. Well
Okay.
done. Well done, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Good night. Yeah.